Let's get one thing completely straight right from the jump. Most of what you've been told about what women want is a flat out lie, designed to keep you running on a hamster wheel. You are led to believe that attraction is a strict game of metrics, that if you just get a little richer, a little more shredded, or a little higher on the social ladder, the doors will magically open. But that is the wrong game entirely. You can have all the money in the world and the looks of a Hollywood actor, but if you do not know how to communicate like a grounded man, you will lose the room every single time. Real attraction isn't built in your bank account. It is forged in the way you speak, the way you carry your energy, and how you handle yourself in front of a woman. Words hold an incredible amount of power, and a man who masters communication can walk into any environment and instantly pull attention, even from people who normally wouldn't give him a second look. The harsh reality that ruffles a lot of feathers is that most guys are their own worst enemies when it comes to dating. They literally talk themselves out of attraction. It has nothing to do with their baseline appearance or their value as a person, but rather because they say all the wrong things the moment tension enters the room. They over explain themselves, they try way too hard to be liked, they chase validation, and they put on a massive performance just to get a sliver of approval. They think they are being smooth, but in reality, they are just projecting insecurity. Women have an incredibly sharp intuition for this. They can smell that underlying weakness and desperate need for approval from a mile away. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who is trying to prove his worth. But here is where the script completely flips. There are certain things you can say, certain phrases delivered in the right tone at the exact right moment that hit completely differently. These aren't magic tricks or rehearsed pickup lines. They are psychological triggers that slide right past a woman's logical defenses and strike directly at her emotional core. These words don't scream for her attention or beg her to choose you. Instead, they communicate a very clear, unspoken message. I know exactly who I am. I am entirely comfortable in my own skin, and you are fortunate to be sharing this space with me. To the untrained ear, that might sound cocky or arrogant, but real, grounded confidence is never loud. It is a quiet, unshakable certainty. It is the most attractive thing a man can wear, and when you combine that presence with the right words, the entire dynamic changes. This approach has absolutely nothing to do with being manipulative, playing superficial mind games, or pretending to be someone you're not. This is about deep human psychology, emotional intelligence, and reclaiming the power of a solid masculine presence. True confidence relies heavily on your emotional self control, your ability to remain completely unbothered, centered, and secure in your value, no matter what is happening around you. When you speak from that place of total self worth, your words carry weight. You stop reacting to the room, and the room starts reacting to you. If you have ever felt ignored, cast aside, or completely paralyzed because you didn't know what to say next, it is time to throw out the old playbook. What follows are 10 direct, powerful phrases that will completely shift the power dynamic, eliminate the guesswork, and command genuine respect the second they leave your mouth. The biggest mistake most men make the second they find a woman attractive is that they immediately put her on a pedestal. They treat her like an untouchable prize, walking on eggshells, constantly nodding along and agreeing with every single thing she says, just to stay on her good side. They overanalyze her shifting moods, dissect her text messages like a puzzle, and say safe, boring things like, "Wow, you are just so deep. I've never met anyone like you." They think they are being sweet and romantic, but in reality, it comes off as incredibly predictable, transparent, and a little bit desperate. It signals to her that you are easily intimidated by her presence and that you are willing to bend your own reality just to please her. When you treat someone like a celebrity, they have no choice but to treat you like a fan. The moment you look a woman in the eyes and calmly say, "You're not as complicated as you think," you instantly shatter that entire boring dynamic and completely flip the script. You are doing something that 99% of guys are too terrified to do. You are bringing her down from that pedestal and meeting her as an equal. This phrase works so beautifully because it acts as a light, playful challenge to her ego without being rude or disrespectful. You aren't insulting her, you are simply refusing to buy into the dramatic act. Women are deeply wired to respond to a man who can challenge them. And when you cut through the emotional smoke and mirrors so effortlessly, it catches her completely off guard in the best way possible. By saying this, you are confidently demonstrating two major things that women find highly attractive in a man. First, you are showing her that you are completely unbothered and unintimidated by her emotional waves, her moods, or her mixed signals. You see right through the complex layers she throws up to protect herself or test you. Second, it instantly sparks a massive wave of curiosity in her mind. Her internal narrative shifts from, I have this guy figured out, to, wait a minute, why is he so calm? How does he see right through me? It triggers a natural desire within her to want to prove herself to you, to show you that she actually is special, deep, and worth your attention. Just like that, without chasing or begging, she is now actively engaging with you entirely on your terms. However, you have to understand that the magic of this phrase does not lie in the raw words alone. It is entirely about your delivery and your internal vibe. If you say it with aggression, nervousness, or a defensive tone, it fails completely. You must deliver it with total, relaxed comfort. Think of a smooth, unbothered energy. Lean back comfortably in your chair, hold direct, unwavering eye contact, and let a slow, genuine smirk hit your face. You aren't attacking her character, you are playfully teasing her confidence. Confident people absolutely love this type of bold, testing energy because it can only come from a man who is deeply rooted in his own masculine presence and knows exactly who he is. Imagine a scenario where she is going on a passionate rant about how nobody truly understands her, how chaotic her life is, or how she is just too much for people to handle. The average guy would lean in nervously, nod his head, and try to comfort her with safe, validating cliches. Instead, you do the exact opposite. You lean back, let that calm smile spread across your face, and say, you're not as complicated as you think. You just like the mystery. And then you stop talking. You do not explain your joke, you do not fill the silence, and you do not nervously look away. You let that heavy pause do all the heavy lifting for you. She will either burst out laughing, raise an eyebrow in shock, or try to playfully argue her point. No matter which way she reacts, you have already won because she is now fully reactive to your frame. And that exact spark of tension is precisely where real, unstoppable attraction begins. Let's look at the modern dating world with total honesty. The vast majority of men are completely stuck in chase mode, and it is destroying their chances before they even get started. They are constantly on the hunt, aggressively pursuing, and running themselves ragged trying to force a connection. They send that immediate text message. They double text when she doesn't reply for a few hours, and they practically beg for a sliver of her time. They change their schedules, overanalyze every single word she types, and turn themselves inside out trying to prove that they are good enough, wealthy enough, or interesting enough to be noticed. But here is the brutal reality you need to understand. Chasing screams absolute insecurity. It sends a loud, clear signal to a woman's subconscious mind that you do not believe your baseline value is high enough to make her stay on her own merits. The very second you begin chasing a person, you have structurally forced yourself into a low value, submissive position. You are telling her that she is the undisputed prize, and you are just another contestant hoping for a handout. When you draw a line in the sand and adopt the unshakable mindset of, I don't chase, I attract, you completely turn the entire dating game entirely on its head. You pull yourself out of the frantic, desperate energy of the crowd and step into a place of absolute magnetic confidence. Operating from this frequency means you fundamentally recognize that your time, your energy, and your presence are incredibly valuable assets. You are no longer trying to force your way into someone else's world. Instead, you are focused on building a powerful, purposeful life of your own, and you are inviting them to step into yours. This is an immediate game changer because it shifts you from being the pursuer to being the actual prize. It shows that you do not require outside validation to feel complete, and that while a high value woman is absolutely welcome to share in your life, she is never a necessity for your happiness. Now, let's clear up a major misconception right now. Adopting an attraction mindset does not mean you become a cold, robotic wall, nor does it mean you never show genuine romantic interest. There is a massive night and day difference between showing healthy masculine interest and chasing down hesitation. A grounded man expresses his interest clearly, boldly, and directly, but he only does it once. He sets the table, throws out the vibe, and then he steps back to see if she is going to match his energy. If a woman shows hesitation, pulls back, or starts playing silly games, a high value man does not lean in harder or try to convince her. He simply matches her energy and lets her go. You must value your own time far too much to waste it on someone who treats you like an option. You allow people the space to wonder about you, to miss your presence, and to actually earn your effort through their own investment. When you carry this calm, self contained energy, everything about you, your silence, your air of mystery, even the deliberate way you walk into a room, becomes 10 times more compelling. To execute this perfectly, your delivery cannot come from a place of bitter arrogance, anger, or internet boy frustration. It must come from a place of calm, unshakable certainty, the tone of a man who has walked away from toxic drama before and is perfectly content to do it again, without a single regret. Picture this exact scenario. A woman you've been talking to starts pulling the classic hard to get routine. She takes half a day to reply to a simple question, she acts noticeably cold, or she gives you flaky answers when you try to make plans. The average desperate guy immediately panics. He starts trying way harder, blowing up her phone and asking needy questions like, "Are you okay?" or "Did I do something wrong?" You are not going to do that. Instead, you match her space completely. You do not text her. You go about your day, work on your goals, and hang out with your friends. When she finally decides to reach out again with a lazy text to test the waters, you do not jump for joy. You respond with absolute, cool clarity. I don't chase, I attract. You either feel the vibe or you don't. And the moment those words leave your mouth or hit her screen, you completely stop talking. You do not send a follow up text. You do not add an emoji to soften the blow. And you project zero nervous energy. You let your boundaries stand tall. If she is genuinely interested in you, that sudden boundary will shock her system, flip the power dynamic, and cause her to step up her effort significantly to stay in your orbit. If she isn't interested, she will fade away, and you have successfully avoided wasting weeks of your life chasing someone who never valued you to begin with. Either way the chips fall, you walk away as the absolute winner. That is the raw, undeniable power of refusing to chase. This phrase cuts straight to the core of a deep emotional truth because it addresses a mindset that most men are completely terrified to even think about, let alone speak out loud. From the time we are young, we are conditioned by movies, music, and bad advice to believe that if we really like a woman, we have to completely lose ourselves in the process. We are told that we need to bend over backwards to keep her happy, cancel our personal plans the second she calls, overgive our energy, and constantly prove our devotion just to keep her around. We treat her like she is the missing puzzle piece to our existence, and the very moment she shows a tiny hint of pulling away, we descend into an absolute panic, thinking our entire world is about to collapse. But let's step back and look at reality with total clarity. How many times have you genuinely liked a woman, poured all your availability into her, only for her to start pulling back the exact moment you became easily accessible? You thought being the nice, overly consistent guy who was always on call was the winning strategy. But instead, she just got bored and drifted away. That happens because neediness is the ultimate silent killer of raw attraction. When you look a woman in the eyes and calmly, firmly establish the boundary, I like you, but I don't need you. You are communicating something incredibly rare and magnetic. What you are really telling her is that you are a whole, centered, and complete man all on your own. You are making it known that you are not looking for a woman to fix your life, heal your boredom, or complete your identity, because you have already done that heavy lifting yourself. This attitude is an absolute breath of fresh air in a dating market flooded with desperate energy. Here is the psychological truth that most guys completely ignore. Women do not want to be needed by a man, they want to be wanted. Needing someone comes from a place of scarcity and lack, and it places a massive, exhausting emotional burden on a woman to maintain your happiness. Wanting someone, however, comes from a place of pure abundance and freedom. Needing her creates intense, suffocating pressure, while wanting her creates an open, exciting space where true romance can actually breathe and grow. By setting the standard, you are drawing a beautiful, healthy boundary that fiercely protects your peace of mind, your personal goals, and your masculine identity. You are showing her that while you deeply appreciate her energy, respect her mind, and thoroughly enjoy her company, your universe does not revolve around her presence. If she decides to treat you well and stay in your life, fantastic. You will give her a great experience. But if she decides to play games, act toxic, or walk away entirely, your world will not crumble into pieces. Your mission remains unchanged. Your happiness stays intact, and your foundation does not shake. This extraordinary level of emotional self control and detachment is arguably the most addictive and attractive quality a man can possess. It signals to a woman that you are not a fragile boy who will fall apart over a pretty face, but a grounded man with rock solid standards. Carrying this energy completely transforms how you move through life because it frees you from the exhausting trap of overthinking and reacting to every little shift in her behavior. When you don't need her, you stop constantly checking your phone. You stop analyzing her tone of voice, and you stop trying to control her actions. Women can feel this profound lack of pressure from a mile away, and it does something incredible to their psychology. It creates a deep sense of safety and comfort around you because they know you aren't trying to trap them or manipulate them into liking you. It makes them want to lean into your world, invest their own effort, and actively prove to you that they are worthy of your valuable time. You aren't playing childish psychological games. You are simply acting like a man who knows his worth and refuses to compromise his stability for anyone. Say it with absolute calm certainty whenever the moment calls for it. I like you, but I don't need you. It is easily one of the most powerful boundaries you will ever set for yourself. Let's have a real, unfiltered reality check right now. A massive problem in the modern dating landscape is that the absolute second a man gets a little bit of attention from a beautiful woman, he completely hands over all of his masculine power. He starts acting like she is doing him some monumental, life changing favor just by replying to his message, answering his call, or giving him her phone number. Suddenly, without even realizing it, he shifts his entire behavior. He starts walking on absolute eggshells around her, terrified of saying the wrong thing, terrified of disagreeing with her, and constantly filtering his true thoughts because he is gripped by the fear of losing her attention. He puts himself in a position of complete subordination, treating her like an elite celebrity while viewing himself as a lucky fan who somehow snuck backstage. When you operate from that desperate frequency, you are screaming to the world that you believe she is completely out of your league. You are treating her like she is the ultimate prize. And in doing so, you are telling her that you have absolutely nothing else going on in your life. That is incredibly weak energy. And let's be entirely direct, it does not inspire a single ounce of genuine respect. It is time for a lot of guys to wake up, stop worshiping women based entirely on their physical appearance, and recognize their own baseline value as a man. You are not invisible, and you need to stop carrying yourself like you are. You bring a massive amount of unique value to the table, whether that is found in your relentless drive, your disciplined mindset, your magnetic presence, your financial ambition, or the grand vision you have for your future. But here is the catch: none of that value means a single thing if you do not carry yourself like a man who actually knows it. When you calmly introduce the reality that you're not the only one who gets attention, you instantly level the playing field and completely shift the power dynamic of the interaction. You are reminding her, and more importantly, reminding yourself that this connection is a two-way street. You are letting it be known that you are not sitting around in a lonely corner, desperately hoping and praying to be chosen by her. You are a man with options, a man with a life, and a man who is actively choosing to invest his time into her out of genuine interest, not out of a desperate lack of alternatives. This statement completely changes the rules of engagement because it shatters the illusion that she holds all the cards. There is a massive night and day difference between a man who is talking to a woman because she is his only option and a man who is talking to a woman because he genuinely likes her vibe out of all the options he has. Women possess an incredibly sharp intuition for this distinction.